All right, everybody. This is the video you've been waiting for. Meat. I'm going to show you some jerky making skills today. First thing you need to start out with is a nice in-focus sharp knife. What I usually do before I start is run it through this little guy to get out any nicks or chips, followed by the honing stone. And I'm going to do this off camera because I don't want to waste time, but I use a little bit of honing oil. I'll put the ceramic rods in, which are stored in back, to give it a fine, fine, fine edge. And then I will actually begin the meat cutting process. So, being that we are in the coronavirus times, I was unable to go to a butcher, but usually I will hit up Costco or sometimes Jewel and get this. What I use is out of focus, obviously. Let's see if I can get this. No, I don't know. I'm so bad at some of this. I'm so bad at all this. Anyway, top round, London broil. Here's my secret. Make your life easier cutting it. Put it in the freezer for an hour or two before you're about to start, and it will give you a firmness to the meat so it doesn't just drop and sag. Then what I will be doing is, looking at the blood jelly, finding the grain of the meat and cutting against the grain so that the jerky kind of rips apart in your mouth more. So this time-consuming part is literally taking and cutting the meat into probably less than a quarter, maybe 1/8 thick slices. And you do that for the entire hunk of meat. So if I knew what I was doing, I would speed the video up to like 2 times here, a little thick, and show you like my mad meat cutting skills in halftime. But instead, I might just go through this together while I cut it like that. So you can see I'm watching my fingers, obviously, so they don't become part of the jerky. When I get to this point, I will cut this hunk of fat out, or I guess I could do it now. And I have a feeling most of my students who requested this don't really care about this part, more so the actual grill smoking part. So I'm not going to use a dehydrator for this round. I am actually going to use a smoker, my Green Mountain Grills pellet smoke. So I'm going to continue cutting and washing my hands frequently, which I also did before I started this. And then we will pick up where we left off with all the cut meat. All right, everybody, here we go again. The meat is cut. This is the jerky seasoning I love to use, originally recommended to me by my little brother. Pretty amazing, pretty fairly priced as well. So what I do next at this point is you take a half a cup of water and you take the cure. This is for 2 pounds. This being like 1 2/3, I'm going to do my best to estimate, let's see, 5/6. So, all you math folk can correct me if I'm wrong on that. So that, I think, is about right. I'm going to stir the cure up. With warm water, it will dissolve better, and that's okay. But we're going to get that going. Then we're also going to use the seasoning packet. I'm just beating that down a little bit because there's some chunks in there. And that, again, is for 2 pounds. I'm going to do my best to estimate, but whatever I don't use will be put in my spreader, and I will tell you all about what I use the spreader for later. Little secret trick I do to get more flavor. So, stirring this up. I know you're back at it. Battery died. So, stirring it up. It's about ready. Since I ran out of 1 gallon bags, we're using 2 quart sized freezer bags. Freezer bags are thicker, can be less likely to crack or weep or leak, and we're going to dump about half of our cure mix into each bag. And if anyone doesn't know what cure is, it's essentially salt water, but with some nitrates and other things. And I'm looking out at these birds who keep, trying to make a nest in my house. Anyway, not too bright. So we're gonna get those in there and sprinkle a little bit of that. I feel like all this is missing now is a goldfish, but I would say that's pretty even. That's where the saltiness is gonna come from. Now the good stuff. I'm tempted to just dump the whole thing in there, but I'm not, for the main reason of the fact that I will be using more later. So we're gonna dump a little in there, dump a little in there, see how much we got left. Probably split the remaining between the two, and that is probably a safe and or fair amount. So at this point, just going to massage the bags, get the flavor very mixed and spread in there. Then we're going to divide up the meat and bag that as well. So I'm going to pause the clip, mix these up better by hand so you don't have to see all that, and then I will continue with the separation of meat. All right, here comes the gross meat handling part. So I'm going to split this up into roughly 2 piles. Then going to add this in and toss it around to get the most amount of flavor distribution as possible. So as I handle this meat, we put everything, whoops, jumping the gun there. Try to get everything as saturated and flavor coated as possible. Put that in. Please remember at this point, like and subscribe. How are you going to see other Mr. D meat videos, or truck videos, or future Vespa scooter, maybe yard work, woodwork, I don't know, videos. So take a moment, like and subscribe. What I'm going to do now is go wash my hands in that sink so that I can zip these up, massage the meat, and then I'll tell you the next step. All right, the meat is bagged, the Ziploc is locked and zipped, and then we're going to gently massage the meat to get that flavor in there and evenly spread out. Bag 1, bag 2, let's just try to separate these little pieces. I've seen different techniques where people will go slice by slice, run it through cure, and then once they've run it through the cure, you individually flavor each slice. So I do a little combination of that, but for now I just want to spend the time just getting the flavor in there and massaging the meat, massaging it to get the flavor distributed between all the little pieces as best as I can. And when that is done, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator to sit and marinate probably for close to 24 hours, which is pretty boring, I know. Yes, you can throw this right on the smoker or a dehydrator right away. If you don't have a smoker and you don't have a dehydrator, guess what? You can bake this in the oven. Clean the racks, lay foil down. I've never done it, so I'm giving bad advice potentially here. I've never done it, but the theory is the same as a smoker or a grill, low and slow. I'm gonna cook this on the smoker at 150 or 160 degrees, probably for 2 to 3 hours. So we'll go through a lot of pellets. You can imagine that would cost a lot in natural gas or propane. Leftover seasoning is gonna go in my little sprinkler. And you will see why later on with that. But the secret of Mr. D's amazing flavorful jerky comes at the end. And you know what? Truthfully, I don't know if I'm ready to give that secret away yet, but if you're not a complete nincompoop, you may be able to figure out what I do. So let's snap this back on for later so I don't lose it. And we're gonna put these in the fridge, and in 24 hours, maybe I'll start another video, set it up at the tripod, we'll get the smoker going, we'll finish this up. We're gonna try to do this quick while my wife and child are upstairs vacuuming. Here is the seasoned beef, bagged and delicious, in the seltzer water. This I'm going to spread gently on this rack, and then I will go out there to the smoker and a ceiling fan, ignore that, to get the rest of this placed. So this will be the comfortable part. The smoke and the eyes part will be outside. So here we go. So the meat is now racked and ready. And here's where my little secret comes in. Probably shouldn't show this to people, but save some of that seasoning and give it a gentle sprinkle on each piece for a pretty massive flavor burst. And that is what makes it taste so much better. I used to actually flip it and do both sides, but I don't have time for that or the sanity. And I have a cut on my finger that burns every time I touch something right now. So, oh, look at that log. Just gonna work on sprinkling my meat just ever so gently with a little bit of delicious seasoning to help make the mouths of many water further. Bam! It's grill time. It's on. It's smoking. So that is where we will leave it at. Let's crank it to 160 for however long it takes to dry. We got some surface mount thermometers and 2 racks. So maybe I'll do one of those video montages that when I open it up it's dry and perfect, but I don't know how. I'll be honest, I don't even know how long it's been, but this is where we're at. If you take a look, the meat is starting to dry out really nicely. Got pretty varying temps, which I'm not thrilled about. And the top rack obviously takes longer to cook. So I'm going to begin pulling and jarring or bagging the bottom, and then we're going to continue to let the top rack smoke. The camera that won't focus, and meat that's ready to be eaten. There we go. Look at that. Yep. So we're just about done here. Smoke is still smoking. And we're just pulling it as it dries. And hopefully I didn't get too much on my lens there. Checking out the yard. And, uh-oh, I may have smoked the lens.